You know, it always amazes me the first snow of the new season, and and people been living in Indiana all their life, and you would think they never seen snow before in their life when they're there. So great, large, huge task there. I mean, for you men and women to get out there and do this kind of work. I mean, unbelievable amount of labor put into this. Mm-hmm. But one of the things, we hear lots of complaints sometimes. Sometimes you get praises. You do a great job. Now, and everyone is never. Some people, depending on what street you're riding on that day, I guess, and how you feel about it.
Sure.
What can the citizens do to help the drivers out there in your department make this a little better in removing snow? What can we do? What can we contribute to the process to help get it done faster, safer?
Well, I think one of the things that's important is, you have your street, your curbs, and your sidewalks, and many times industry and citizens during a snow fight, they'll start blowing into the street with their blowers or whatever, and they'll just push it in the street where we've gone by, and we ask that they not do that. I think the other thing is we have created IndySnowForce.com, and we have a number there, 327-8000. And if citizens are in an area and they notice if something is really slick or there's a problem, they can call that number and update us, so we can use that as a referral and say, okay, we can maybe get some people out there and modify, because 420 square miles is a lot of area, and drivers are out there at night. They're out there during the day, and if all of a sudden some part of the city is getting hit and we don't know that, we want to be able to help out. But I think the other thing is that, as we all learned when we first started driving, is you slow down, you take a little bit more time getting to work, you have patience, because we're all in this together. And in Indianapolis, like everybody else, it's really more about ice. Ice is the dangerous thing, and many times as people slide because they brake too fast, or they're thinking it's a Sunday afternoon drive in the spring versus it's getting a little slicker out there, and you never know when you're going to have black ice that's forming. And I think one of the scary parts is when you're out there, you'll see a snow truck, and you'll say, well, we know they've dropped salt, but if the temperatures are 28 degrees or below, that can refreeze. And you don't see it. You start having that safety factor because you see a wet ground and you think you're safe. I think that's some of the things that we can do. Jim, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think probably one thing that's always amazed me coming here from California 32 years ago is the fact that the inability of some of the people here that have probably been here a long time and can't, for some reason, know how to drive in the snow. So I kind of agree with David. People need to slow down, and probably the biggest thing to me is I think people need to know how to handle what they drive.
Right.
SUVs, four-wheel drives, or otherwise. To know what the capabilities of that vehicle is and what are your capabilities to handle it.
All right.
In adverse weather conditions. So people buy these things, and I don't really feel they know that much about them, and what they can do and what they can't do with them.
I think they get overconfident sometimes.
Sure.
Because they got four-wheel, they can do anything they want to do.
Sure.
Yeah, all four wheels will slide.
Yeah, all four wheels slide.
Sure.
I had the pleasure of being at the luncheon, DPW luncheon a few weeks ago, and the president of the union got up and said that, boy, we have new equipment. The first time we had new equipment in many a decade. I got a note here saying 40% upgrade in the fleet. What does that pertain to? What have you all done to upgrade the fleet? And when he said he has new equipment, what was he talking about?
Well, the new equipment that we have today, when we first came in, many of the pieces of equipment are 95s, 96, 97s. As you recall last year, or you may have recalled last year, the beds that hold the salt were so bad and so wore out that we actually had to take the trailers off and put spreaders directly to the main frames just to keep them going so they safely could spread, because the units could have fell off where they are. There were units where people were stuffing rags into the floorboard. And so that's from a safety standpoint, it's not there. And we'd made a commitment with the employees when we first came in and said, give us the biggest things you need. And it was equipment. Give us the equipment and the tools to go out. Now we've got 37 new trucks, and we have 20 more coming in. They're new, they're capable, they're going to work forward. During the big snow last year, we had at any point in time 20% of the workforce or equipment going down. Not only do we have our drivers, but we have our fleet service, and we have around-the-clock people out there. It's kind of like the Daytona when it comes to big snow with the old equipment, because they're trying to keep those older units running and working safely and moving forward. Think about it. You got a big plow that weighs about 1,800 pounds coming down the street at you, and it's on a frame that's rusted out and having some troubles. You've got to be a little concerned.
Kind of scary there.
Yeah. So we're in great shape now, and we have more coming. I think the mayor's approach to finding the funds for us to give the employees the tools, not only in snow but in the other areas that we work on, such as forestry and the resurfacing of the grounds. I think that's been very helpful. Give the guys that want to work the right equipment and the right training, and they'll do a good job.
Hey, you're viewing We're in Annapolis. If you're just now tuning in, we have Dave Sherman, Jim Love, Director of Department of Public Works, and Jim Tyler. We're debating on what Jim Tyler is today. And Jim Tyler is
Division Officer, Operations
all
Division.
right. He takes care of all the streets, forestry, and a whole lot of other stuff, and manages the fleet out there moving the snow stuff. But I find it's pretty awesome. Cause the Ballot administration has been able to support you all in buying new equipment in the downturn we have all over the country, where people are actually getting rid of people and shutting equipment down because they don't have the money to operate it. And we find ourselves 37 new trucks, 20 new ones on the way. To try to serve the people, the citizens of Indianapolis, and make it safe for them. That's great. I'm looking for my street to be clean when, Jim, after the snow. How long it take residential street?
Residential streets they get plugged in when we know we're going to get at least 6 inches of snow or more, and that's when we'll notify the contractors that we have signed up to plow snow in the neighborhoods. We'll activate them and bring them in to do all those neighborhoods like we did last winter.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, with the deep snow in the neighborhood. So
I know another complaint we said, well, they didn't do my streets. With the figures you gave us and the mileage and stuff, it'll be a long time before they get a residential street if you got 5-6 inches of snow.
Well, that's true, and I think it's interesting is because in the last 2 decades with the snow plans, there were certain residential areas just never were done. And last year during the big snow, right, wrong, different. Maybe that's taking us a little more time, but we actually went through every resident. And I think what's important is people one time said to me that we couldn't get down all those streets. Well, we found between ourselves and the contractors we had, we found only one that we really couldn't get down because you couldn't get an 8-foot plow down, or in the young drivers or the consultant or the contractors wouldn't go down it. Now this year, if we get a heavy snow, we have increased the number of contractors we have on call by I think 80%. We also have increased the heavy equipment operators, and that's important because if you have a big snowfall downtown, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
And so at night we'll be getting that snow out of the downtown areas so that the businesses can clean off their sidewalks and we can take care of the streets and people can walk and be safely going down the street. Make sure we're salting and taking care of safety for the general public.